January 11, 2024. Stepove, Donetsk Oblast, outskirts of Avdiivka. A Russian T-90M Proryv tank advances through destroyed buildings. Proryv means breakthrough in Russian. This is Russia's most modern main battle tank committed to combat in Ukraine. 63 tons of steel, 125mm smoothbore cannon, relict explosive reactive armor, Stora active protection system, Arena-S countermeasures, thermal optics, advanced fire control. Cost $4.5 million per unit. The crew believes they're hunting Ukrainian infantry. Light targets, easy kills. They're wrong. 2 American M2A2 Bradley infantry fighting vehicles wait in ambush. Operated by Ukraine's 47th Mechanized Brigade. 30 tons each. 25mm Bushmaster chainguns. Tau anti-tank missiles. Aluminum armor. Not designed for tank duels. On paper, this is a mismatch. The T-90M should dominate. Meter-thick frontal armor. Cannon that can destroy any vehicle at 3,000 meters. Active protection against missiles. The Bradley is an infantry fighting vehicle designed to transport troops, provide fire support against soft targets, not fight main battle tanks. But war doesn't follow paper specifications. At 2:47 p.m., the first Bradley opens fire. 25mm armor-piercing rounds hammer the T-90M at close range. 200 rounds per minute. The tank's crew panics. This is WarFist TV, where we analyze the battles that change wars, because what happened in the next 10 minutes proved that training, tactics, and courage can defeat superior equipment. Hit subscribe. You need to see how American infantry fighting vehicles are destroying Russia's best tanks. The M2A2 Bradley is not a tank. This distinction matters. Tanks are designed to destroy other armored vehicles. Heavy armor, large caliber guns. Infantry fighting vehicles are different. They transport infantry squads. 7 soldiers in the passenger compartment, 3 crew, commander, gunner, driver. The primary armament is the M242 Bushmaster, a 25mm chain gun, effective against light armor, trucks, APCs, infantry fighting vehicles, helicopters, not main battle tanks. The ammunition is relatively small, high explosive rounds for soft targets, armor-piercing rounds for light armor, neither designed to penetrate heavy tank armor. The Bradley also carries tow missiles, tube-launched, optically tracked, wire-guided. These can destroy tanks. Range, 3,050 meters. Warhead, tandem-shaped charge, defeating reactive armor. 2 missiles in the launcher, 5 more inside the vehicle, 7 total. This is the Bradley's anti-tank weapon, but Tau missiles require the vehicle to stop. The gunner must track the target optically. The wire must unspool correctly. Launch preparation takes precious seconds, and the vehicle becomes stationary, vulnerable. The T-90M Proryv is Russia's answer to Western main battle tanks, based on the T-72 chassis, but heavily upgraded. Engine, 1,130 horsepower. V92S2F diesel. Top speed, 60 km per hour on road. Main gun, 2 A46M5 125mm smoothbore. Fires armor-piercing fin-stabilized discarding sabot rounds, high-explosive anti-tank rounds. Can launch gun-launched anti-tank guided missiles. Effective range, 5,000 meters for missiles, 3,000 for direct fire. Armor protection combines steel, composite materials, and relict explosive reactive armor. Frontal armor equivalent to 900 mm of rolled homogeneous steel. Turret front, 1,000mm equivalent. This should stop most anti-tank weapons. The active protection systems are sophisticated. Stora 1 infrared jammers disrupting laser-guided missiles. Smoke grenade launchers creating instant concealment. Arena-S radar detects incoming projectiles, launches interceptors. The fire control system includes thermal imaging, laser rangefinder, ballistic computer, automatic target tracking. The T-90M can fight day or night, in any weather, at long range. It's Russia's best. Which Bradley feature matters most against tanks? A. 25-meter gun. B. Tow missiles. C. Mobility. Comment your answer. On January 11th, Russian forces were attacking Stepove, a small village northwest of Avdiivka, part of Russia's offensive to encircle the fortified town. Russian tactics involved armored pushes, tanks leading, infantry following, artillery support. Stepove was critical. Control it, threaten Avdiivka's flank. Ukrainian forces defended with 47th Mechanized Brigade elements. This brigade trained in Germany on Bradley fighting vehicles. Crews learned Western tactics, fire and maneuver, Coordinated attacks, using terrain. The training was intensive, several weeks, but Ukrainian tankers adapted quickly. They were already experienced fighters, just needed to learn new equipment, new systems. The 47th Brigade had been in combat since June 2023. Rough initial battles, high casualties, but they learned, adapted. By January 2024, they were veteran mechanized infantry, equipped with Western armor, fighting with Western doctrine. The T-90M entered Stepove at 2:45 p.m., advancing through rubble, buildings destroyed by weeks of artillery. The tank moved alone, no infantry support, no accompanying vehicles. This violated basic armored warfare doctrine. Tanks without infantry support are vulnerable. Infantry clears buildings, spots threats, protects against ambush. The T-90M crew apparently believed their armor was sufficient, or they were reckless or poorly trained. 2 Ukrainian Bradleys had positioned in Stepove hours earlier, using destroyed buildings as cover, sightlines covering probable Russian approaches. The crews waited, 1 Bradley north of the tank's path, 1 south. When the T-90M passed between them, it entered a kill zone. At 2:47 p.m., the northern Bradley opened fire. Distance, approximately 300 meters. The M2A2 Bushmaster roared, 25mm armor-piercing rounds. Rate of fire, 200 rounds per minute. The gunner aimed at the tank's optics and sensors, not the main armor. The armor was too thick, but sensors are vulnerable. Stay with me. The next few minutes show why sensor damage equals mission kill even on the best tank. The first burst hit. Rounds impacted the T-90M's turret, the commander's sight, the gunner's optics, external sensors. Sparks flew, equipment shattered. The explosive reactive armor blocks detonated. Relict is designed to defeat shaped charge warheads, not rapid kinetic impacts. The Bradley's armor-piercing rounds penetrated some blocks, destroyed others, created gaps in protection. The T-90M crew reacted slowly, perhaps shocked, perhaps blinded by sensor damage. The tank attempted to turn toward the threat. The turret traversed, but the main gun didn't fire. Maybe the crew couldn't acquire the target. Maybe systems were damaged. Maybe they hesitated. The Bradley's gunner kept firing. 50 rounds, 75, 100. Continuous fire. The turret front took repeated hits. More reactive armor blown off. The gun mantelet struck multiple times. External equipment destroyed. Then the Bradley stopped firing. It reversed, moved behind a building, out of the tank's line of sight. The T-90M was still operational, engine running, gun functional, but blind. Sensors damaged, optics destroyed. The crew couldn't see properly, couldn't acquire targets. The tank backed up, trying to escape, turret rotating, searching for threats. From the south, the 2nd Bradley attacked. It had been waiting, coordinating with the 1st. When the T-90M turned to face the 1st Bradley's position, it exposed its flank to the 2nd. The southern Bradley charged forward, firing as it advanced. This was aggressive, dangerous. One hit from the T-90M's 125mm gun would destroy the Bradley, penetrate its aluminum armor, kill the crew, detonate ammunition. But the Bradley crew gambled on speed and surprise, and the T-90M's damaged sensors. The 2nd Bradley's gunner aimed at weak points, the turret ring, the gun mantelet, the commander's cupola, places where armor is thinner, where systems are vulnerable. More 25mm rounds hammered the tank, 20, 40, 60. The T-90M attempted to traverse its turret toward the new threat. Too slow. The Bradley was moving, shooting, maneuvering. The tank crew couldn't track it effectively. More reactive armor detonated. The turret ring took hits. The gun elevation mechanism visible through smoke and sparks. The tank's turret rotation became erratic, spinning continuously. Unable to control properly, the hydraulic system likely damaged. Then the Bradley ceased fire. It had expended its ready ammunition. Or the crew decided to break contact. It reversed behind cover, buildings concealing it. The T-90M sat in the open, turret spinning uncontrollably, systems failing. The crew tried to retreat. The tank moved backward, slowly, but the engine was still running. The vehicle still mobile. Ukrainian forces weren't finished. An FPV kamikaze drone appeared. Small quadcopter, carrying explosives, operated by a pilot kilometers away. The drone dove toward the T-90M, struck the turret top. Explosion. Not large, but effective. Top armor is always thinner. The blast may have penetrated, caused internal damage, injured crew. The tank stopped moving. Final kill. The engagement lasted 10 minutes. 2 Bradleys and 1 drone against Russia's best tank. Result: T-90M mission killed. Possibly destroyed. Crew fate unknown. They might have survived, bailed out, or died inside. Bradleys undamaged. Crew unharmed. Tactical victory complete. Drone footage captured everything. The video went viral. Military analysts worldwide studied it. Western armor experts praised Ukrainian tactics. Russian sources downplayed the loss, but the evidence was undeniable. If training defeats technology, type WarFist TV in the comments. The tactical breakdown reveals several factors. First, sensor damage equals defeat. Modern tanks depend on sensors, thermal sights, laser rangefinders, optical systems, cameras. Damage these, the tank is blind. The T-90M's armor protected the crew. Survived over 125mm hits to frontal armor, but the sensors were vulnerable, external, exposed. Once destroyed, the crew couldn't fight effectively. They couldn't see properly, couldn't acquire targets, couldn't aim accurately. The tank became a mobile pillbox, armored but ineffective. Second, combined tactics win battles. The 2 Bradleys coordinated, one engaged while the other waited. When the tank focused on one threat, the other attacked from a different angle. This divided the Russian crew's attention, created impossible decisions, forced them to choose which threat to address. By the time they decided, both Bradleys had disengaged. Third, initiative matters more than armor thickness. The Bradleys struck first, damaged sensors immediately, maintained aggression. The T-90M crew reacted, tried to recover, failed. In armored warfare, he who shoots first often wins, even with inferior firepower, because that first shot creates conditions for follow-up shots. Fourth, infantry fighting vehicles can defeat tanks under specific conditions: close range, urban terrain, surprise, coordinated attacks, sensor targeting. These conditions existed at Stepove. In open terrain at 2,000 meters, the T-90M wins easily. Its 125mm gun outranges the Bradley. Armor defeats 25mm fire, but at 300 meters in ruins with surprise, the fight is different. Fifth, crew training is decisive. The Ukrainian Bradley crews executed Western mechanized infantry tactics: fire and maneuver, mutual support, aggressive action, breaking contact when necessary. The Russian tank crew made critical mistakes: no infantry support, slow reaction, poor situational awareness, inability to effectively engage multiple threats. The M2A2 Bushmaster isn't designed to destroy heavy tanks, but it proved effective at degrading combat capability. 25mm armor-piercing rounds can't penetrate T-90M frontal armor. That's physics. But they can destroy external equipment: sensors, optics, antennas, reactive armor blocks. The gun mantlet itself is vulnerable, only 30mm thick. At 300 meters, 25mm AP rounds can penetrate. The gunner's sight is protected by 20 to 70mm armor, penetrable at close range. The commander's cupola is 30mm, again vulnerable. These weak points aren't flaws exactly. They're necessary compromises. A tank cannot have meter-thick armor everywhere. Weight would be impossible. Mobility would suffer. So engineers protect critical areas heavily, accept vulnerability elsewhere. Answer: B and C together. TOW missiles are the designed anti-tank weapon, but mobility enabled the Bradleys to exploit terrain, achieve surprise, and break contact. Neither alone would suffice. The Bushmaster created the conditions by damaging sensors. Mobility allowed the tactics. TOW missiles would have finished the job if needed, but the engagement succeeded without them. Think about the strategic context. January 2024 was difficult for Ukraine. Avdiivka under intense pressure. Russian forces attacking from multiple directions. Ammunition shortages limiting Ukrainian artillery. The 47th Brigade was defending critical positions. Every Russian vehicle destroyed mattered. The T-90M loss had propaganda value. Russia promoted this tank. State media praised it as superior to Western armor. No analog, they claimed. Then a Bradley destroyed one. The psychological impact was significant. Ukrainian morale increased. Western equipment works. Training works. Russia's best isn't invincible. Russian morale decreased. If the T-90M can be killed by a Bradley, what's safe? Russian tank crews became more cautious, less willing to advance aggressively. Western allies noticed the Bradley's performance validated the decision to provide it. Other nations sent more infantry fighting vehicles. Sweden sent CV-90s, Germany sent Martyrs. The collective effect multiplied Ukrainian mechanized capability. The engagement also showed that quantity isn't everything. Russia has thousands of tanks, Ukraine has hundreds, but Ukrainian crews are better trained, better tactics, better coordination. This multiplies effectiveness. One well-trained crew in a Bradley is worth more than 3 poorly trained crews in T-90Ms. Russia's numerical advantage decreases when quality matters. For the 47th Brigade, the engagement was validation. Their training in Germany paid off. Western equipment worked, Western tactics worked, they could fight and win against superior Russian equipment. The T-90M survived despite catastrophic damage. This speaks to its armor protection. Over 125mm hits to frontal armor, multiple reactive armor detonations. The structure held. The crew apparently survived. This is impressive, but mission kill equals kill for tactical purposes. The tank couldn't fight, couldn't accomplish its mission, had to withdraw for repairs. That's defeat. The Bradley's 25mm gun gets dismissed by some analysts. Too small, they say. Ineffective against modern armor. This engagement proved otherwise. Against vulnerable points at close range with skilled gunners, the 25mm is lethal, not through penetration, through system degradation, sensor destruction, equipment damage, making the tank combat ineffective even if the crew survives. Should Russia have provided infantry support? Should the Bradleys have used Tau missiles? What would you have done differently? Comment your tactical analysis. Subscribe to WarFist TV. We break down the engagements that define modern mechanized warfare. The ruins of Stepove stand silent now. The T-90M was eventually recovered, towed away for repairs, or stripped for parts. The Bradleys continued fighting. More engagements, more Russian vehicles destroyed, and Ukrainian soldiers learned a valuable lesson. Superior enemy equipment can be beaten with proper training, proper tactics, proper courage. The T-90M was Russia's best. It wasn't enough. Because in modern warfare, technology alone doesn't determine outcomes. Training determines outcomes. Tactics determine outcomes. Will determines outcomes. 2 Bradley crews with 10 minutes of combat prove this. Against all odds, against Russia's best tank. They won. Stay vigilant.